I'm Kylie, welcome to Testoria. I'm joined today by Ben and Kate and a rather nice wine called Principio.
A very nice wine indeed, Kylie. This is also organic, in keeping with our theme this evening.
Mm-hmm.
And what's probably the most noteworthy thing about it is the grape variety, something that's incredibly obscure called Ciliegiolo. Ciliegiolo. It is a bit of a mouthful. It took me many months of practice. It's believed to be one of the parents of Sangiovese, which is, of course, a much better known variety, which is responsible for Chianti.
Grapes have parents?
They do, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Cabernet Sauvignon is the love child of Sauvignon Blanc and Cabernet Franc.
Wow.
Yes, indeed, yeah.
Wow. This is a whole
Pinotage
other...
is the love child, although...
Why love child?
That was a bit of an arranged marriage,
Yeah,
I think.
it was actually, right, yeah.
But
when you draw up a big family tree, that's really interesting. But okay, this is a grape variety that's pretty
right,
much...
which is extremely obscure.
I've worked in Italy for 8 years. I've never heard of this.
Well, that's
never even heard of it.
No.
Although it used to be very widely grown in Tuscany. A few years ago, when they decided to start allowing some French varietals to be planted, etc., and when Tuscany started putting itself together and making better wines for export, increasingly people were only really interested in Sangiovese or planting varieties like Merlot, etc., which they felt were more high profile. So what you found was that people who'd grown Ciliegiolo for generations were getting rid of it. Now, one of the things we like most about the organic ethos and promoting growers who do that is that, along with the real respect for the environment, you often find comes a real respect for heritage. Antonio is an absolutely lovely man, and he's completely passionate about the fact that it would be the most dreadful tragedy if varieties like Ciliegiolo were to very gradually fade out of the scene until they were completely extinct. So it's his mission to make wine from them and, you know, ensure that people get to taste them and promote them. It's a very Italian grape variety, and that it's got a bit of an edge to it, not unpleasantly so, but you know, it's not exactly, I wouldn't describe this as exactly a very sort of soft, round grape variety. But
it's got a bit more attitude, doesn't it? A little bit more streetwise.
But that's actually what makes it an even better food wine than something that's just incredibly soft and easy to drink. And you know, it gives it some interest. I think it's a fantastic grape variety. I've since tasted another one since discovering this one, which wasn't quite as good. This one is really quite fabulous, and there's a slightly dusty spice in this, which you find in Sangiovese. So I think a
little bit smoky.
It is a bit smoky, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
How are you feeling? First time you've tasted it, you dived right in there.
I'm feeling sort of retrospective.
Towards?
That's okay. It's strange, isn't it? It is unbelievably grippy. I mean, it's got that bitterness that you get in Amaro. It's got a sweetness of fruit at the front, but a tannic. Typically, you know, you said it's Italian. Acidity is there without question. The tannins are drying, but they're ripe. I mean, there's no question of any greenness or meanness here. Yeah. Oak? Was this oak?
No.
Treated at all? All stainless steel?
It does spend some time in old wood.
Okay.
But, you know, they're going for, again, quite a non-interventionist approach. They don't want to influence the wine with flavours of...
By putting it in an oak barrel and then having those flavours be absorbed.
It's incredibly savoury. I mean, the nose is quite sort of smoky, not smoky bacon in a sort of South African Pinotage way, but just delicately. And I have to say, I mean, there is a brilliant place for this wine because... or these kind of wines, I completely agree with you because they'll never be the Pinot Grigios, and hopefully thank the Lord because that would be quite wrong. But they are interesting and they are new flavors, and it's just a different flavor profile. You know, I'd say, could you compare it to Sangiovese? I tasted lots of Sangiovese from that part of the world, and as you have too, and I think it tends to be riper and a bit more sweet and a bit more of a profile at the back palate tends to be a little bit more. But it's really lovely. It's really charming.
It is.
You know?
It's very, at the risk of sounding horribly pretentious, it's very honest wine. You know, it's not making pretensions to anything. It is what it is. They're not, again, there's not layer upon layer of complexity, although I think there's definitely enough going on in the glass. But it's supposed to be enjoyed with some really good food.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Some of the wines we've tasted, I feel you could drink them on their own. Certainly the Frizzanti and those ones. This one, I feel like it's a bit overwhelming, to be honest. It makes me hungry when I taste this wine. I feel like I should be eating at the same time.
Yeah.
A lot of wines like that?
Yeah, I mean, the things that make you feel that are the tannin and the acidity.
Oh,
they're
okay.
great. They're great. You know, your aperitif sort of thing makes your palate crave food. Sends a little message to your little tongue that maybe it's time for food time.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what it does. And you need, for me, that'd be great with, I don't know, wild boar or something. I have no idea.
Perfect. Sausages, actually.
Yeah.
Would be wild boar sausages.
Hey, don't ever tell that time I went down to
sausages.
Newquay and had sausages at the meadery.
It's a great story.
Yeah, I'll tell you another. I'll put it on my blog.
Okay.
Have we talked about price on this wine?
This wine is £9.10, which again, for a wine that's so very carefully produced, Antonio only has 8 hectares of his own.
Really little.
Well, it's not as small as it gets, but it's certainly not large by any stretch of the imagination. So, you know, again, he very much hand makes things. He tends to, the Ciliegiolo vines are contracted. They belong to some very old people who, he actually takes care of the vineyards, but they don't belong to him.
Yeah.
You know, literally people who just never got round to ripping them up like everyone else.